Hi, my name is Fon Davis, and I've been working in motion pictures and television for over 25 years on more than 30 feature films. One of the most common questions I get from people is, I'm an artist, I really want to do what you do for a living, how do I do it? So I thought I'd take a few minutes here in my shop and shoot this video and explain to you the secret to my success and to the success of people around me, so hopefully that'll help you. Most of it is really common sense. I'd say the first thing is, and the most important thing, is don't be a jerk, try to be a positive person, get along with people, because what'll happen, it's a freelance business, you'll get laid off of a job because you're not getting along with people and you won't get hired back, and they'll never tell you why, because it's a really awkward conversation to have with somebody. Number two is study tools, materials, and technique. Learn as much as you can about the job you do. It's your job. You're expected to take ownership of what you do and do it the best you can. Be productive, be efficient. Productive, you know, it's in the word. Film production, you know, it's everything we're supposed to be doing. Is the end result is to be productive. The third thing is work ethic, and probably the most overlooked thing that I see in students coming out of film schools, coming out of art schools, is they're really unprepared for how hard the work really is. Yes, it's creative, yes, it's rewarding, yes, it can be a lot of fun, but you have to work. You have to earn every hour that you get paid for while you're on the clock. So don't expect anything different. Sometimes you're gonna have to get up early. Sometimes you're gonna have to do the really crummy jobs so later you can do the really fun jobs. And that's just how the business works. So be prepared for that. The other thing you want to do is have an efficient workflow. This is actually how I work and how a lot of us work in my studio. And it's so much a part of our culture that we've put it on our clipboards. You want to review the project you're working on, learn as much as you can about it, and then create a checklist. From that checklist, you can figure out all the steps that need to happen as much as you can. You're not going to get them all, but get as many as you can on your checklist. Keep your checklist on the front of your clipboard and keep your notes in the back of your clipboard here so that your checklist becomes number one and it doesn't become cluttered with a bunch of notes. Once you've got your checklist, you can go through it and figure out what materials you need to fulfill each one of those steps. It's very important because you don't want to be halfway through a project and then realize you need some materials and then you have to stop the entire project to go get the materials or to send someone for the materials. So that's a very important thing to do. Be aware of your schedule. Basically, if you've got a 5-week project and you've got 5 major steps in that process, you know you've got a week per process in the project to get it done. So schedule is very important. Budget. Be aware of your budget. Is it a hero prop that you want to spend more money on, or is it a background prop? You know, you got to be aware of how much money you can spend on these things, how much time you can spend on these things, and be aware of what the production has in mind for that particular thing. Because if you spend more than they actually budgeted for materials, you're going to get in trouble. So be aware of all of that, be organized, and that'll help you work fast. All of this is just about being productive, being efficient, working fast. What does working fast mean? I'm going to actually demonstrate by building a box right now, on camera, in real time, to show you exactly how fast you should be working. It's just a box, it's not anything fancy, but I don't want you to sit here for 4 days while I do a spaceship. But you should be able to do a spaceship in 4 days. And it's exactly the same as building this box. Basically, with your checklist, you should be able to roll from one step to the next step to the next step. You should be organized. You shouldn't have to stop. Master the art of talking and working. If you want to have fun while you're working, that's how you do it. Trade secrets with people, you know? You'll see what I mean here in a second. Put on my safety glasses. All right. So I've already got this written down on my clipboard. I'm going to cut the biggest piece first, because if you cut the bigger piece first, it means you're more likely to have scrap to cut the smaller pieces out of. So you always start with your big piece first. In this case, I'm building a 5-sided box that's 6 by 6 by 16 inches long. So I'm going to need a front, a back, 2 sides, and a bottom. Since the front is going to be the most visible, there's not going to be any seams on that. That's my biggest piece. So I'm going to cut that first. There's my back. Since the front and back are 6 inches tall, and the side is going to be 6 inches tall, I could actually cut the sides right out of the ends of this piece. Now I'm going to go to the bottom, which is going to be 5 inches. And that's going to account for the fact that this is 1/2 inch material. The total distance wants to be 6 inches. So now I can move over to the chop saw, clear the table saw for the next person coming along. You always want to think about the next person coming along because those are the people you work with, and that's how you stay friendly with them. More time is wasted in shops looking for material and thinking about the next step to do. So if you can eliminate those two things, you're going to work more efficiently. And you're going to help everyone else work more efficiently. I've marked that at 16. I'm going to save this for the side. I'm going to take the piece I already cut. I'm going to put it on the second part. I'm going to mark it. That makes it less likely for me to make a mistake on that measurement. If you use a tape measure, there's always a chance you'll get it wrong. All it takes is misreading the tape measure or some little thing getting on the end of the tape measure while you're trying to measure. Okay, so that's the front, the 2 sides. Now I'm going to do the bottom. The way I'm going to do that is it's got to be 16 inches total. So I'm going to first mark using one of my front pieces. And then it's got to get shorter by the thickness of 2 boards. So I'm going to take 2 boards, lay them on here, and I'm going to mark using the 2 boards. That way that measurement, again, can't be wrong because I'm actually using the parts to make the measurement. Okay. Now I can go back to the table saw to cut the 2 sides. And since the last thing I cut was the bottom of the box, it's already set for what I need to cut the sides at. And I'm going to clear the saw. Next person comes along, should be able to use it without hassling with my mess. All right. So now I'm going to go ahead and assemble it. That's the bottom. These are the 2 sides. Put a little glue on here. Another really cool trick. I want to make sure that these things stay flush and that this seam is really nice. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put one of my pieces of wood right up against it, like so, and that's going to put both pieces in the right place when I push on it. You know, that is a game that we play in our shop that makes things fun and makes us all more productive, and that's trading these little tricks. It's really fun to just challenge yourself and try to find ways to work faster and get a better end result. And trade those notes with the people you work with. If you share your tricks, they're going to share theirs, and everybody becomes better together. There we go. Now I'm going to do the face. Lay down some glue. This is something I learned from one of the people I worked with also. Honey bears make really good glue bombs. Again, you know, you want to have as much fun as you can. You're going to spend, presumably, the whole rest of your life, 40 hours a week or more, doing this. Try to make it fun. Make it fun for yourself, make it fun for everyone around you. there's your box. So that, believe it or not, is exactly how you're supposed to work all day, every day, while you're at someone's business. If you're making a dragon, it's more steps, but it's basically you want to burn through those steps as fast as you can. If you're making a robot, same thing. If you're making anything, you want to try to bring your A game to your employer so they'll hire you and keep hiring you. That's all I got to say on the subject. Hopefully you learned something from the video. Hopefully I answered your question. Happy building.